Hey everybody, welcome back to East Tennessee, right in the middle of Hurricane Ida. Look at us. Whoa! Look how pretty that is, with the fog rolling through those hills right there. The nice breaks in the cloud. I'm not sure you can see that on the camera, the breaks in the cloud, but yeah, see, it's sort of washing it out, I think. But I was just saying to myself, I think East Tennessee owes me a big debt of gratitude, because I filled up all of the fuel containers, and I've got the generator all squared away. I put the trailers away and the boat away, and I took care and prepared everything for Hurricane Ida. And as a consequence, all we're getting is a nice, sweet, constant drizzling rain, which is perfect for what we need because we were really dry. But had I not done that, we would have gotten the wind and the lightning and torrential rains and washed everything out, and we'd have been a mess. But a little bit of preparation, and it means it all goes away. And I'm sure there's a couple other of you out there who contributed to this fine scene. But our prayers and thoughts do go out to the folks down in Louisiana and maybe even Alabama and other areas that got hit, of course, with the full force of the storm. But what we're getting actually is a pretty nice situation. I think it appears on the radar that the storm is staying a bit west of us, so middle Tennessee, and we're just sort of taking that eastern bands of rain. And actually, it's really nice. The temperature is low 70s maybe, and actually, believe it or not, the humidity is down significantly. So anyway, yeah, big time prayers out to those guys who are taking more of the brunt of the storm. We, of course, wish the best for you, and we will, of course, be donating to some of the charities to make sure that you guys are getting those things that you need to help replace the losses. And in the meantime, this is a great opportunity for us to clean out the barn and do just some of the work inside. So I got my little troublemaker here with me. He's going to clear the place of mice and groundhogs and whatnot, and that's what they seem to be focused on. Here's sort of a funny sight for you. So, needless to say, our rain catchment system is still a work in progress. Yeah, it's not completed here before Hurricane Ida hit, but it's actually filled up pretty good. And you know what? It would have filled up even further if that wasn't happening. And that is one at the very bottom here. I don't know if you can see it right there. The little bit of grass has gotten in there and plugged that hole up for me. But you know what we're going to do? There's fancy instructions with this here flex paste about setting it all up so it has a good adhesion and that sort of thing, but that's not the way things work on a homestead. So what I'm going to do with my site inspector, he'll probably go start drinking that, is I am going to use this block of wood as the trowel, and I'm going to just slabber it on there. Okay, so it didn't quite go as expected. This one, because there isn't a lot of water pressure on it, is holding. But this one, because there's all that water pressure on it, I put a screw in there to try to help block it up, but the screw wasn't quite big enough, frankly. So it's still pouring out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bigger screw in there. See? This one, yeah. And we will see if I can sort of block it up and decrease some of the water pressure on this material and then cover it over. Well, that seems to have worked, guys. In the middle of a hurricane, you know, I'll clean that up. But that screw is about the perfect size. So I thought I'd just walk down to the shed and see how our little grow house roof and everything is faring in the wind. So this is the grow house. Thus far, there's not a single drip. No water penetration into this space, so that's good. Taking the pallet forks over to a neighbor's house. He's got a chicken coop that he needs to move. He's been having trouble with the wheels on it breaking, so I told him, well, the pallet forks will hold 3,000 pounds. Certainly your chicken coop don't weigh that much. So I just put him in the bucket, taking them over there, and then let him use the pallet forks for a while. I don't need them. Not right now, anyway. I really got them for when I start taking trees down. And I've taken the one tree down, but I'm bucking that up into firewood, so the bucket works better for that anyway. Well, the weather really hasn't been bad at all. A little bit of a sprinkle, but Ida's been taking pretty good care of us. But you may hear the generator running back there. So there's only 66 customers out from the Appalachian Electric Cooperative that we belong to. But the problem is that the holler we're in is really narrow, and of course above ground power lines and tons of trees, and so apparently it took it down. We're so it looks like we've already been out for probably 2 hours, probably about 2 hours, and we're supposed to be out for another 4 according to the guesstimate from them. But with only 66 customers, you'd think they'd be able to get it done a lot faster than that, but you never know. Anyway, as far as the generator goes, because of the farmhouse, we're going to build a house, and so right with this, we just connected a portable generator. With the other house, we're planning on putting solar in. It'd be our primary power too, if we can get enough of an array in, depending on how much it all costs. Anyway, I don't want to make this too loud, but I'll just show you a picture of it if I can. Yeah, so that's the generator. I keep the cover on the front side of it, just to cover the electrical panel, but on the back side where the exhaust is and everything, of course, we keep that obviously wide open. We don't want to burn the house down or anything else. So anyway, that's how it is. Just thought I'd let you know that in fact we did lose power, which is not unexpected here. So guys, here's the layout right now of the orchard. I hope you can see those stakes. They're staggered, so they're offset from one another. They're 15 feet across. They're actually slightly more than 15 feet across, but they're at least 15 feet across. And then from each other, they're closer to 30 feet. That would leave a nice open channel that we could use to come down, because if you remember, that's the pond there. So it's sort of a gateway. Saber, get out of there. Saber, here, come on. Safety inspector. He's checking the burn pile. But the problem is there are big spiders and snakes in there. Saber, here, come on. Yeah, we've already seen some pretty wicked spiders and snakes in there. So, okay, so I apologize. So we can walk up through here and give you some perspective. So this hill is south facing, so it's going to get lots of sunlight. These trees, I think they'll be okay in blocking the sun from these stakes up there. Certainly all summer they will be. But I could also take a bunch of those down because those are those miserable sumacs. Okay, so see how the offset is? So you have one there, there. So it's like sort of triangle. So across here was measured to be 15 feet, but then I pushed it out just a little bit, probably another foot or so, as we came down the hill because I had the room to do it. So they had to be at least 15. And then, since I have this one is 15 from that one, meaning if this were straight across, that's 15, and then this is 15. So that means that's 30 between those two. But with the canopy of this one, it would be 15. But if you go straight across, that line that they're on is 15 from this one. And like I said, plus a scooch. So probably 16, a couple of them could be 17. But that would leave plenty of room, but yet still leave us plenty of trees. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And I have at least 3 more before I drop down towards the pond. So some of the issues with the orchard is I want it accessible. See, I come right across there all the time because that is what we sort of call the log cabin hill, which means it's the hill that goes from the farmhouse up to the shed and the barn. And that hill I use or traverse constantly. So that means coming down here to the orchard is even a simple walk. But I could have a little UTV, come down here, boom, 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 manage this as more of a market garden. But yet, the problem is that I'm concerned is that there will be periods in which we can't keep up with the production. And that means you're going to have apples and pears and cherries and that's such on the ground, and it's going to make a hell of a mess. And I don't want that hell of a mess being where we have to operate, and I don't want that hell of a mess bringing in a bunch of animals, which it's obviously going to do, and bringing those animals over to where the dogs have to be every day. So this being the log cabin hill right there, obviously we're using. You see the road actually goes on the opposite side or back side of this hill. So this is actually, as the crow flies, really convenient. You can see the stakes down there for managing or processing the fruit. But on the other hand, it's clearly, geographically cut off from this other area. Animals could come into there, be not far from the wood line, come out, feed, go back in, and not be in or call attention to themselves by the critters here. And when you're talking about deer, okay, they want to chase the deer, but when it's bear, it's going to be the opposite. And then this side of the garden is the production side of the garden, with the she shed right here. Of course, these here, I'm expecting to grow mushrooms in that shed. And then, of course, the barn is going to have all the tools and stuff. Now, our own animals, we're thinking about using this very steep slope here all the way around. Remember, we have a whole nother pasture back there, which is really sizable.
but using this hill as sort of feedlots for the sheep or goats. Then we'd keep the chickens probably down here where you see this is. We'd keep the chickens there because then their poop would be close to the garden, to the market garden, to be able to move that. And we would move them through that area, and we could even move them into the garden, you know, towards the end of the year, so that they would, you know, scratch it all up and do their thing to help aerate and fertilize the garden. And then the apiary, right now we're thinking about the apiary right here, and they say you want them to be no more than a mile from food source. Well, okay, this whole area through here is all clover. It's all sorts of ground cover that's been here for 100 years. And so there's tons, I mean, this whole area is covered in bees and butterflies all the time. And then they're also, you can see that's not anywhere near a mile from the actual orchard. And then of course they're gonna have the garden. So guys, I think that seems like the general concept of a plan. And that's what we're sort of moving towards. All right, so there you go.